benefit of our next guest.
We do have the added benefit of our next guest. Again, brought to you by API, America's oil and gas industry. You can learn more at API.com. This is Governor Nikki Haley. Oh, yeah, sorry. How rude of me.
So can I first say, John, like, how cool would it be if you were the announcer at the debate?
Yeah. That's a great idea.
That you were so good. That would be awesome if you were the announcer at the debate.
I'd say yes.
He only has really nasty things to say about people, though, so I'm not sure that works.
So I bring gifts.
Okay, what do we got?
I brought bourbon.
Oh, that's a fine one.
You know our heart.
I do know your hearts, but there's one rule with this. I will give it to you if y'all promise to stay away from the butter cow.
No deal.
You can't drink this, and I'm trying to earn some votes here. If I give you this and y'all destroy the butter cow, I'm done in Iowa. So I'm just saying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
And Kentucky bourbon. We love every second of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, listen, gosh, where do I start with this? First of all, how are things going? I feel like you're everywhere. Every time I turn on the TV or I read a headline, you're in one city after another. You've been all over Iowa. I mean, you having fun?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have fun, but I am either in Iowa or New Hampshire or home in South Carolina, and then it's rinse and repeat all over again. And, you know, I mean, that we've done over 40-plus events here in Iowa. We've done over 40-plus events in New Hampshire. But, you know, it's the name of the game. There are no shortcuts. You can't come in here, do a rally, and leave. You got to touch every hand. You got to answer every question. You got to make sure that you go back over and over again. They know their stuff.
Yeah. And also, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that as soon as you announced, you reached out and said, hey, I'd love to talk to your listeners. And as soon as we announced this event, you said, hey, I'd love to talk to the folks of Iowa.
An OG friend of the program.
Always happy to be on the program.
So, all right. Look, I got to imagine the running for president. The way that I view you is you're like a remarkably normal human being for all the jobs that you've had, right? And you in private you're the same as you are in public, and you're just a normal human being who deals with your family, you're dealing with all kinds of things, but you've had incredible responsibilities and dealt on the foreign stage on behalf of the United States and dealt with all kinds of crazy issues in South Carolina when you were dealing with this. As you get to the presidential, like, is this just, does it drive you nuts as a serious person, as a normal person, the kind of conversation that you need to have with, like, bizarre sort of 9/11 truther type stuff on a day-to-day basis when you were, like, driving a serious economic message from South Carolina and from your job as UN ambassador?
I mean, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's not rocket science, right? It's common sense. It's stuff that we do every day in our homes and our businesses and everything else. So the part that I get frustrated with is when people try and make it more complicated than it is. I mean, at the end of the day, our goal is reduce the size of the federal government and send it to the states. Let Kim handle all of this down. You know, stop. Their Republicans and Democrats are spending like drunken sailors. Yep. Stop spending that way.
That's right.
We should have transparency in the classroom. Every parent needs to know what's being said and taught to their kids in the classroom.
100%. It's horrible that it took COVID for so many parents to realize what's become of the school system.
Absolutely. And then, you know, close our borders. That's why haven't we closed our borders? So these are things they all know. And so I don't live, eat, and breathe politics all the time. Yeah. I am a military spouse. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. You know, like, there's more to life than just politics. And so I think at the end of the day, this is about common sense. Let's go fix what we need to fix and then get back to normal. That's the goal.
That's right.
So you're one of the few candidates out there that has literally spent time representing your country overseas. And you've seen the threats around the world. You've taken a look at what we're now encountering in the absolute insanity of the Biden administration. Where do you rank things in terms of how we deal with foreign policy in the United States?
I mean, what I think is really important is 6 weeks ago, I dropped my husband off at 4 a.m. for another year-long deployment. And I watched him and 230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings and load a bus to go to a country they've never been, all in the name of defending and protecting America. They're willing to sacrifice their lives and their families because they still believe in this amazing experiment that is America. So when you look at that, what I know from my husband, what I know from his military brothers and sisters, they get the fact that a strong military doesn't start wars, a strong military prevents wars.
That's right. That's right.
And Biden just doesn't get that. And if he did get that, then he wouldn't have them taking gender pronoun classes. It's true.
Thank you.
It's demoralizing to them. If he did get that, we wouldn't have had that debacle in Afghanistan. I mean, that's the part that's frustrating as a military family. When it comes to dealing with countries that want to destroy America, let's focus on the job. Let's get it done instead of all of this other stuff. And I think that we've just lost that. But we look so distracted right now.
I can't think of anything more demeaning than the reports that we've seen over the past week when military families who just experienced the loss of a service member in that horrible plot in Afghanistan said that the president didn't want to hear their thoughts, was looking at his watch. It's unbelievable that this is the situation we have with our commander-in-chief.
Well, and for my fellow military families, they deserve the truth. Give them the truth.
That's right.
What happened? Why did it happen?
That's
Give
right.
them that stuff. I mean, some of them just want to get their phones back. They want to get the pictures back of their loved ones. And look, I mean, I think the most heartbreaking part for me as a military spouse, when we send them off, we know there's a chance they don't come home. But what we don't expect is for government to lie to us about what happened.
That's
and why
right.
it happened.
So, Nikki, I've got a question for you.
Yep.
You are very, very accomplished. And when you walked out on stage, my wife texted me at that very moment, and she said that all 3 of my girls went nuts watching the live stream. Nuts. They absolutely, in my house, they absolutely love you. And so I think their question, if they could ask you tonight, would be, what is the first thing that you would do if you're sworn in as President of the United States? What is the first thing that you would do?
The same thing that I did when I was governor, which was I replaced the head of every agency.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you send people into each agency to bring down regulations, get rid of red tape, get rid of problem children. And then the next focus is not to do executive orders, because that's what's gotten us in this problem in the first place.
Huge.
But instead, start looking at 10, 20 years out. Start then working with Congress on what are we going to do to make sure we're ready 10, 20 years from a financial standpoint, from a military standpoint, from an education standpoint, from a law and order standpoint. And then you get to work and prove to the American people that government works for them and not the other way around.
That's right. That's right.
And a reminder to you, I said this to you last time, it's all about raising strong girls. Strong girls become strong women. Strong women become strong leaders.
Sounds like you got some fans in the Ashbrook house. So, at the UN, was there a moment? I mean, look, we've all had new jobs where, you know, if you get promoted and you get a big job, there's a moment you're sort of sensitive and nervous a little bit about it. You didn't seem to have that on the way in, at least externally. Is there a moment where you sort of, it all crystallized that this is why I'm here, this is what I'm here to do, and you just like stare down foreign leaders and were like, no, we're representing the United States here? Because I saw this, and I'm interested to see
that
what
image,
you say.
I think everyone saw. You knew it was
The side
game
eye?
time.
The side eye, right? I want to tell you one story first, because I think this is what crystallized it for me. When I got there the very first week, and you're trying to really find your footing and get things ready, the first week I'm there, someone at the U.S. mission at the United Nations gets on the phone with press and these other organizations and tells them what my agenda is. It was not my agenda. And so I asked my staff, I said, who the hell went and talked to the press and said this? And I said, whoever it is, I want him fired. You're not ready for who it was. John Kerry's sister.
Are you serious?
John
That
Kerry's
was your first
sister.
fire? What a badge of honor,
So,
huh?
so I said,
Hero.
she apparently had a job at the U.S. mission at the United Nations. So I said, you got to get rid of her. And their response was, no, she's here for 6 more months. And I said, you get her key pass, you get her computer, and I will pay her to sit home.
Yes! That's how you handle it.
You have to set the tone of what you're going to do. And when you hear them talk about that deep state, when you hear them talk about all of that power that's up in there, you've got to clean that out. And we never had problems like that anymore when we got rid of his sister. And that wasn't because there weren't more like him. It was because they realized we were serious.
Yeah.
And then, when it comes to dealing with foreign actors, I negotiated the largest set of sanctions against a country in a generation with North Korea. But in order to do that, I had to convince China and Russia to come on board. You don't convince them by running scared. You convince them by showing strength and letting them know what you expect of them. That's what we've got to go back to.
It seems to me it's a lot better option to have a country scared of you than have to spend on sending arms because they stopped being scared and started a war.
Now, think about it. I mean, did we ever think we'd look at the sky and see a Chinese spy balloon looking back at us? So as ridiculous as that was, fine. But what does Biden do after that? Sends Blinken to China, sends Yellen to China, sends John Kerry to China. That's exactly what you don't do. Instead, they're going and trying to appease the same country that wants to destroy us. China's been planning war with us for years. The last thing you do is let them think that we're scared of them. We're not. We absolutely can defeat them if we will wake up and get started.
That's right. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
All right, pure politics here before we get to the finale. You look across this room here, and you've spent a lot of time with an awful lot of people in Iowa. Nikki Haley going to win the state of Iowa?
You know what? Let me ask you, because this is what we're looking at. If you're looking at we're $32 trillion in debt, you're looking at the fact that our kids are so far behind in education. You're looking at the fact that we're seeing crime we've never seen before across this country. You're looking at the fact that 75,000 people died of fentanyl last year, and China knows exactly what they're doing when they send it over. Right. You're looking at the fact that we have open borders, and you're looking at the fact that Russia has invaded Ukraine, China's on the march, Iran's building a bomb, North Korea's testing ballistic missiles. If you know all of that has happened, the key to us getting things back on track is to have a lot of courage. Courage from everybody in this room. One, courage for me to run, and courage for every one of you to know, don't complain about what you get in a general election if you don't play in this caucus. It matters. It matters. We're going to get used to this face because we're going to keep coming back over and over again. I'm determined to earn your support. We have a country to save, and I think together we'll get it done.
Fantastic.
A rouser. A rouser. Are you ready for a game?
I'm ready for a game.
We got another game for you, folks.
Is it a cheesy game or is it a cool game?
It's a cool game.
It's both.
If we're being honest, it's both.
We're going to play Veep or VP. Kamala is the V. Kamala is the V. You can hear Hollywood Hen on that, by the way, which I love.
She's got a top, like an alto, soprano.
She goes full soprano,
Full
I think.
soprano on it. All right, so for those of you who haven't heard this game before, the HBO show Veep with Selena Meyer. It's known for, how would you best describe her?
The most ridiculous portrayal of politics, that's also the most accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. And very strange extemporaneous thinking, which our current vice president does as well, hence the game.
Yeah, versus Kamala Harris. And the whole goal of this game is to try to figure out who said what. And I got to tell you, it might be our toughest game.
Okay, can I say full disclosure? I've never seen Veep.
You've never seen it?
No, but the reason I've never seen Veep, I don't watch any political shows. Like, my whole life is politics. The last thing I want to do is go home and watch a political show. I'm not going to do it. But having said that, I have painfully seen enough of Kamala. So I think we can figure this out.
With one half of the equation, you might be able to take it home.
I think I could still win this.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I have 3 statements here for you. And you have to determine whether it's Veep or our vice president. Statement number 1. The nature of democracy is its. There are 2 sides to it in terms of the nature of it. There's a duality.
Kamala.
That's statement number 1.
Man.
They all know it's Kamala, too. Like, we've seen her do it.
If it sounds dumb, it's probably Kamala.
Statement number 2. And you know, for these wells and these chambers and these legislators and legislative bodies, they're designed for debate. Literally, the design is for debate. They are trying to debate in session. They're in session. No, I'm serious.
That's a tough one.
Winston Churchill.
You'd be surprised, sir. You'd be very surprised.
Statement number 3. I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words. So we have 1, 2, and 3.
Kamala, Veep, Kamala.
Kamala, Veep,
I
Kamala.
think we only have one. What? How
It
many?
could be any. It could be
be
all.
anything.
They
There's
could be
no
all
set
Veep.
number.
They could be all Kamala.
It's a
I'm
tough
saying
game.
Kamala, Veep, Kamala. Because the second one had, the words were too complicated for her. It's true.
Somebody's throwing darts tonight.
Wow. Well,
Wait till the debate.
I mean, you gotta imagine. That's good. You gotta imagine ChatGPT's like, I could be vice president. What the hell? Like,
Okay.
Holmes.
I mean, I think she might be right about number. She's very convincing on number 2.
Okay.
I think I'm. I think number 1 is definitely Kamala.
Okay.
I think 2 is probably Veep, and I'm going to go with Kamala on number 3.
Okay. Smug.
just to play the odds, even though I think number 3 is Kamala, I'm going to go with Veep, just to be different.
Number 3.
Number 3, so it's Kamala, Veep for me.
Okay.
I just as a reminder, I have to take myself out of this game.
Oh, yeah, you've been
Because
compromised
we-
because of our collusion.
We collaborated.
We colluded. Okay, so
That's the kind of integrity you can come to expect here on the
what we
radio.
do.
That's right.
Number 1, the nature of democracy is there's 2 sides to it in terms of the nature of it. There's a duality. That is Kamala Harris.
My God.
Funny enough, though, and this is just sort of an aside because I hate this White House so much. Kamala Harris did that in an interview with Jennifer Palmieri, who was a
Wait, what?
a White
Are you
House
serious?
comms
Jen-
director.
no.
And it's an official thing.
Jen Psaki.
Oh,
No.
just a sec.
Oh, Jen
Wait,
Palmieri?
Yes.
Palmieri
Are you
doing
this was
it?
at a White House official event.
That's what she came up with?
Yes.
Number 2 was actually...
No. That's number 1.
Oh,
that's
God.
number 1. Hold on.
For the
Almost had a
journos here in the
stroke.
back, what are you doing at work? You know that's ridiculous.
Number two, and for these wells and these chambers and these legislators and legislative bodies, they're designed for debate. Literally designed is for debate. They are trying to debate in session. They are in session. That is Kamala.
Are you serious? Wow.
And
You got that?
also, she's being interviewed by Sonny Hostin from The View. Like, what the fuck?
That implies that she knows more than we think she does.
It's like she took mescaline.
So bad. So bad.
Number 3 is, in fact, Selena Meyer.
Wow. Yeah, we were really close.
I know.
And you were awfully persuasive with number 2. Led me that way.
I mean, number 2, we really got to take the White House back. My God.
And we're going to do that with the help of people like Nikki Haley. Governor Nikki Haley, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You tell those girls I'm fine.